Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Deep Dives in the Desert. And we're doing another, episode, right, of the Divinity Within. And we're doing Sacred Embodiment, Aligning Body, Soul, and Energy. And we got the lovely Sherri Div Band again. So good to see you.
Thanks for having me back. Soul couldn't come with us tonight, but instead we have Emma, which I think is fabulous. I was just saying right before we started that I think you bring such a beautiful element to you and your mom's podcast, and it's nice when you are able to pop in. And I think this was divinely guided tonight because unfortunately Soul was unable to join us this evening. And there's a lot going on with a lot of people right now, right, Lisa? And so we're just rolling with it.
Yeah, we're just going to send Soul so much love and healing energies. She's under the weather and really thought until I went to bed last night, her and I were talking and she was like, I'm going to push through. I'm good. I'm going to go. And then it was like 4:00 in the morning, my time. I had a message from her. Things got much worse, feeling really bad, not going to be able to make it. So we love you, Soul. We hope you feel better. And we're sending you a lot of healing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about you guys, but I've also noticed, including myself and like people I know, a lot of people are getting sick right now. And yes, there's a lot of that has to do with the toxins and sky art and all of the normal 3D interference. But what's actually occurring right now are people are really leveling up, and our DNA is activating moment to moment, day to day, at different speeds for different people, obviously, just depending on a lot of factors. It's not a contest. It's not by gender. It's not by demographic. There's a lot of factors that are in play. But I've noticed that the reason a lot of people are getting sick is that their bodies have to purge and detox so much more faster than we have had to or needed to before, to make room for these elevated frequencies that are coming in and these light codes that are coming in. And I've been having all these sessions with clients, and let's say they're connected to the Arcturians or Lyran, felines or whatever it is. They're receiving specific light codes from and frequencies from those places. So, and their bodies have to be in a space to not only receive it, but also hold on to it and integrate it. So people are getting really sick. And it's almost like the flus or the colds or the whatevers, the even food poisoning like symptoms. It just depends on how your body responds. A lot more people are having these reactions because there's purges taking place. People are more tired. People are having like triggered headaches. They're sensitive to noise, to sound. All of these things are signs that we are activating. We're responding to the Schumann resonance. We're responding to changes in the collective consciousness. So much is occurring. It's not all bad. It's not always because of 3D interference and like the negative stuff. So a lot of times when we get sick, we need to just go with it and just let our body rest and just say, okay, I'll be part of the integration. So instead of fighting against it and being upset and thinking I have to miss work and all of these things, just go with it. And the integration will be much more smooth and hopefully take less time. And that's why we're seeing a lot of families get sick, because the group together is going through activations at the same time and purging together. So it's interesting dynamics right now. So if people are getting sick that are watching this right now, I'd be interested to see what people have to say. But that's a common thing I'm seeing.
And you talked about too in Starseeds in the Great Awakening, you were talking about how, there's a lot of starseeds that have like discomfort in their own bodies and everything. And so talking about like the embodiment of that is part of like a healing and integration process for them. Do you think your body can become like a translator for starseed energies and cosmic frequencies rather than like a limitation?
Oh my God, of course. Well, I think that's part of like flipping the script. The inverted reality we have is we were so suppressed, and we were tuned in, and we have been tuned into the matrix frequencies, like the lower vibrational suppression programming frequencies. And I call that Encourage to Change, the Freedom Movement book, these loops. So we get into these loops of addiction, or it could be addiction to anything, by the way. It's not always to drugs and alcohol. And these loops keep us suppressed and in repetitive patterns that are negative or self-limiting or self-destructive, self-sabotaging. So now we're inverting all of that. Our DNA is activating. That's why it's different for everybody, because we all come from the cosmos, and wherever our origin is the most connected to, those are the frequencies we're likely to draw in, because those are the frequencies we're contributing to the collective. And it has different side effects. And then we do become translators, and we do vibrate out those, let's say, Lyran frequencies to the collective, and wherever they're needed. And then that's why a lot of people live where they are living, because they're activating the land. They're helping to free their ancestors that may or may be trapped in that vicinity. There's so much going on. I don't want to take up all the time.
No, I totally agree with you. And I was thinking about when I was first introduced to the whole theory about this stuff, as I was awakening and finding it out. It seemed like there were so many people that, for them, going through this awakening meant ascending, and they're always talking about wanting to like leave their body, leave Earth, go into this ascended version of themselves and everything. And it really now seems more like it's about embodying where we are. Like, we're here on Earth, we're in these bodies. There's something more that we were missing at that point, where we were talking about leaving Earth, leaving, our bodies and ascending out of it. And it's to embody this in our bone structure, in our cells, and every cell that we have. To come in and hone this awakening from within. It doesn't go with, outside of you. It's all encompassing.
It's almost like, how they say like Earth is a school. Well, the body is the classroom. That's where you're going to be the most present. That's where you're going to be doing most of the work and everything, and kind of tuning into yourself. And like you were saying, kind of navigating through it. And when you were saying how it seems like everybody's getting sick, that's so true. And it seems like even just like the everyday, like what you eat, like the routines that you do, it doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same. It's hard to exactly put it into words, but I was even telling my mom as an example, like every time I eat food, whether it's healthy food or not, like my body immediately rejects it. I immediately get a reaction to it. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, maybe we're getting to a point in this ascension. I don't know if other people are experiencing this, where it's like, we're not going to need the same sustenance that we've had. Does that make sense?
Or in a different way.
In a different way.
Yeah. Almost. Trying to figure it out. But it's really interesting that the things that didn't used to affect us are affecting us now.
But it's also easier to move through it as well. So if you kind of feel like you kind of get pushed on your back, then it's easier to kind of recognize, okay, this is what this is, and then you're able to bounce back to where you were and move through it easier. So I think that's definitely a clear sign of that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, our bodies tune into the environment really easily, and if our frequencies change, then our response to the lower vibrational foods or the toxins or the pesticides in the foods are going to cause an alarm to go off. Like what I call toxic shock syndrome is like we're becoming more allergic to the 3D and all the elements within the 3D. And I actually learned about that working with children, with so many children, because their parents would say, my daughter or my son can't eat anything. They get sick with everything, or they're not hungry. A lot of the starseeds that I work with, the children, will not eat. They will literally survive on sunlight, and their parents they're healthy, they're thriving, they're happy. They will eat a few things a day and they're totally fine. So Emma, you are absolutely right that we are the higher frequency, the more crystalline our body is, the less food we actually require. Probably I think I got in a reading years ago, 2/3 less food is what we will actually require by the time we really reach a point where we're anchored into the fifth dimensional kind of arena, where we'll get more of our sustenance from the life force energy around us, the quantum energy that we can get from nature, from the sun, from water, and all of these other things. So that could be why a lot of people are getting sick too. Their bodies are rejecting the food.
Yeah,
can't eat the foods we used to.
It's just kind of just going through an overall purge too. And Yeah, it resonates with me too, because like before I was always like a small eater, like I didn't eat a lot, but now I could feel like I'm starving and I can really have 2 bites of something and then I'm like, oh, I'm good. And sometimes I don't even have a desire to eat for like a couple of days too. My mom's like, you need to eat something, So yeah. I just thought it was kind of interesting that came up too. And I was just like, if this is happening, like, it's not a coincidence that, we're going through so many energetic shifts and everything. And it feels like everything's speeding up. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Does that feel that way for you? Like,
definitely.
I feel like the day goes by fast and just like something, like you could have something happen on a Monday and then it feels like it's already a week later. But I'm like, I feel like it just happened yesterday, So it's kind of like, I almost feel like it's not like in a purgatory or something. You just feel like you're,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it properly, but just kind of going through like the flow of it. We're not in this like 3D like structure of like time as we know it and how we're supposed to like live, and it's just, it doesn't.
Time does feel different. Yeah. Time feels like it's moving in not even just a different rate, but in a different way. Almost like the energies that are kind of coming in now, they have a different feel to them. It is swift for sure, but it's also lighter, if it makes sense. It's almost like we're not being held down to constraints in the same way that it felt like we used to be. I was just talking to my friend Katie from Katie in the Chorus yesterday, and that's what she was saying. She was saying, for her, time works so differently now that even going back and trying to remember if we were talking about a month or something, she said, to think back and say what was happening in April or what was happening last December. She said, I can't even like put it in that frame anymore. It doesn't feel, like she could even recall it in the same way.
No, I mean, with my job too, I have to like make appointments and we schedule, and I'm like, I don't even know what like day it is. I don't know what month it is. Half of the time, I'm like, what year are we in? It's so weird.
I know too. And then sometimes that all the time.
Yeah, no. And then sometimes I look back and I'm like, wait, did this even happen or did I make this up? Like, I don't even remember.
Did I jump timelines? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No joke though. That is something like that. Seriously, I think that's happening. And the reason why and what's occurring, I'm so glad you brought that up, because there's been there's a lot of things happening to show evidence of that. First of all, the more dense of a reality you're in. So let's say 3rd dimension versus 4th dimension versus 5th. Time is more dense and it's slowed down. And why is that? Because you can control it better, and which is why they like us in this dimension, in that dimension, because they can control us through this time matrix. But you can see the proof that we are moving into higher dimensions because time starts to change. And that's actually should be validating for people to know that we are losing the grips on the matrix, is losing grips on us, and we are evolving into higher densities, because like what Lisa just mentioned and Emma, we are noticing evidence of that through the time. I mean, you can't possibly get through the tasks of the day like you used to, the same amount of things, but the time seems to be going so much faster. And the energy is different. Like you're saying too, Lisa, all signs of higher densities and higher dimensions. We are reacclimating and adjusting to all of those things. In the same way, our perception shifts. And the way we look at things and I don't know if this is happening, but a lot of clients, I don't know if this is happening to you guys or people watching this is what I should say, but a lot of clients are having weird anomalies, kind of like not knowing what timeline they're in, but it's in the moment where they'll have things in their field of vision, where they catch something and they think something's walking by, or they think that they see something in front of them. So we are now becoming more tapping in multidimensionally, which means our sight, third eye, whatever you want, however you want to talk about it, our clairvoyance is activating, and we are seeing beyond the dimension of the 3rd dimension now. So now we're starting to even see things, and we're like, what was that? I know I just saw something. This flew by. Or you're like, you're looking all over the place. You're thinking you're going a little bit nutty, and that's changing. Though everything about our senses is changing. So that shows you we're going through dimensional shifts. And when the perception starts to change, which is one thing we really want to get into today, but I'll pause here so we can talk about what I just said. We have to be a little bit flexible in our perception, because now we're being tested on pretty much everything, because now when we go through these dimensional shifts, the way we look at things, the way we react to things, our perception of things are all going to change. And now that can be very disconcerting to people, because the foundation they thought that they were on, the belief system that they were connected to, the people they thought they were connected with, you're like, I'm not into that anymore. I don't like that anymore. That makes me uncomfortable now. I'm really interested in this. And you're feeling like you're spiraling out of control. But what's really happening is you're spiraling in a beautiful way to a higher dimension and a higher density of consciousness.
Oh my
and that's
God.
what people are feeling so like out of control right now.
It's so true. I agree with everything that you just said, and I love that. Really quick, for Celestial Emma, yes, we were just talking about Soul is under the weather. She wasn't feeling good, and she was going to try to push through. It got a lot worse overnight. Like while I was sleeping, and I woke up to a message that she wasn't going to be able to be here. So everybody, please take a minute and send Soul just some love and healing intentions, please.
Love you, Soul.
We love you, and we know that you'll be back with us soon. She's like, I hate disappointing everyone, but she's really sick. So sorry about that. She'll be here next time. But Emma graciously stepped in with us, so we appreciate having her here. And next time, maybe it'll even be the four of us. Who knows?
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
The gang's all here.
But to get back to what you were saying, I agree with you about the energies. I feel like, and like I said, I was talking with Katie about this too. Some things that are new and things aren't, because I was talking to her about some things that were going on with us personally. And I'm like, I'm trying this and I'm trying this and I'm trying this and it's not working. And she was saying, as we're moving into these new energies and things are shifting and changing, instead of looking at it like things are not working and what used to work, isn't working anymore, because we're trying to use an old toolbox, an old toolkit to do things that worked where we were, but it's not where we are or where we're going. So it's not going to work the same way. And instead of looking at it as something to be frustrated or worried about, to look at it from a place of, wow, I'm really coming into a different alignment. This is a different attunement that I'm moving into, that I'm seeing that I'm resonating now with a whole new group of frequencies, and it's going to change what the world looks like for me and what life looks like for me right now. So it's kind of an exciting place to be too. And really just calling you to not use your mind so much. I don't think it was meant to be leaned on as much as we do lean on it, where we need to kind of get back into that heartfelt, place where we're utilizing that first and seeing where things take us. It's going to get us a lot farther, I think, than just trying to keep our lists and, do our old toolkit.
Yeah. The toolkit is expanding. That's for sure.
That's for sure. I think it's just going to be one of those things. It's kind of like you're reprogramming yourself, because we're so used to doing things a certain way. And there's going to be times you're going to fall on your face and you're just going to feel almost like, this is going to sound negative, but I don't mean it negative. Like you almost feel like you want to jump out of your skin. You're like, I don't know what I believe. I don't know what is true. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. And it seems like, especially with like emotions, it's manifesting, at least for me with emotions, like heightened emotions. And sometimes like out of nowhere, I'll feel like super, super anxious, or I'll just get really, really frustrated. I'm like, nothing happened at all. Like you need to calm down, So I feel like that's definitely another sign with that as well. So it's kind of like, okay, well, that's also a clear sign, like, okay, your body's kind of telling you need to take a moment to pause and kind of really feel in and tap into like why you're feeling what you're feeling, because it's your like divine compass with that too. So I feel like that's definitely a key point with that as well.
Yeah.
The emotional element too is interesting, because I work with a lot of different clients that have their own perspectives and what they're going through in their life, and so many people are taking on the emotions of the collective and the suffering that's occurring, and a lot of things that are being like opened up, like old wounds. And I think someone mentioned in the chat about their heart chakra hurting. Like we're tapping in with speaking in those densities of consciousness. The more tuned in that we are to higher densities, the more tuned in we are to each other. So we have more compassion and empathy for what we are all going through, even if you don't know who they are, because sometimes we're tapping into just the collective suffering. And there's so much scare tactics going on right now that are just very disheartening, that I try not to even dedicate any of my attention or time to, because I believe that there's a lot of 3D interference going on. So I don't want to use keywords to get our channels taken down, but pretty much everything we're seeing in the news with regard to either arguments, wars, weather, all of it, there's a good percentage of that is being orchestrated on purpose to cause chaos. Even those ridiculous dolls that I won't even say their name, that are popular for children right now, that are basically voodoo dolls, like to the TV shows that our children are watching and the music that they're listening to. I mean, 3D is infiltrated right now, swarming with distraction and division tactics to cause fear. So there's a lot of emotions. So we as empaths, those that are empaths out there, which there are many, are tapping in and feeling that and tuning in. And then they're like, oh my God, my heart is so heavy. I feel so much for all of these people and the world and the suffering, and we're activating emotionally, which again shows unity consciousness. We actually are activating our care module. Like we care again about each other. And sometimes it takes disasters to bring people together too. So there's a lot of dynamics playing out here, and a lot of back and forth between the light and the dark, and what they're doing to counteract what we are doing as with our collective light. It's a whole thing.
I agree with you with that too. And I think that, bringing up some of the things that we're looking at in the world right now, and Rena was asking, like, how can we feel more in control and like adapt to that? So what do you have to say about that, Sherri?
Well, how I have been coaching my clients recently is this. There are so many things out of our control. We really and truly cannot control the weather warfare, and that's causing a lot of these disasters. We can't control what the political figures, whether you like them or not, what they're doing, or the ridiculousness of these arguments going on that we don't even know for sure are real or are they fabricated. Mm-hmm. So everyone's getting all upset and getting mad and what side they're on. And again, it's all distraction. And even people that are on the good side can also create distraction and division to counteract so we don't know all the elements, is my point. So instead of looking at good or bad, it's what can you control? So all of these things are happening. I cannot control any of that. So what I've been telling people is, what can you control? Well, what they're trying to do is hijack our minds. I have had several videos and posts about this. That is what they're trying to do, because we are human, and the 3D control system is operated through brain and the primal aspect of human. That's what it is. That's controlled through fear and emotion. So if we're thinking too much, they have us plugged in. That's why our school system and all and everything in our life is designed left brain. And all the right brain is woo-woo, silly stuff, and you shouldn't waste your time with art and music and all of that. But as we are enhancing and activating, we are activating that right side and the crystalline and the DNA, and we are tuning into different bandwidths, different frequencies. And we're like, hold on a second, we're seeing through all this garbage. So what we do is we tune it out, and we instead of adding and contributing to the collective fear, we take our attention away from it. And that means stop watching it, stop engaging, stop making comments about it, stop sharing it with everybody. Everybody knew about the floods. We don't need it to, we don't need everyone to post it on Facebook. Everybody was talking about it. Everyone was sharing. Every post you saw was something negative. And a lot of it was AI generated images. They weren't even real. So it's tuning out and focusing your attention on what you can do for your mind so it doesn't become hijacked. And that looks different for everybody. What are you passionate about? What can you read that's distracting in a positive way? What can you listen to somewhere out on the internet that is teaching you something new, something about cooking, something about gardening, something constructive? So it's about putting your mind towards something where we add to collective co-creation and positive frequency, as opposed to destruction, division, fear and all of that. So it's where your mind is attuned to and the energy you're putting towards it. That, think about that. That's the, like, if we have a big pot of stew right now, what are you adding to the stew? Are you adding more salt to make it like really full of shit and sodium, or are you adding some sweet stuff to it? You know, like very simplistic metaphor. How are you adding to the collective drama? Or are you saying, I'm not putting any more ingredients and I'm walking away from the pot completely? So every action that we do, every reaction that we have, and everything that we do with our mind, and it's all energy, and it contributes to the collective energy. So we are responsible for what we're contributing. And if we can't control it, we either walk away or we do something else creative with our mind to add to a higher frequency.
Yeah, no, that definitely resonates too. And because I was actually going to ask you about this before, where it seems like there's random times where, especially when everything gets so chaotic with what's going on and all that, and just not having the desire to engage in that, because you don't obviously want to add to it and gain that potency with it. But I always recommend to people too, just to kind of like, if you feel like, okay, I can't navigate this exactly, I literally am just so like drained from all of this, that taking a step away and kind of like taking a break from social media or whatever you need, and not taking in any of the information that's coming in. And I feel like that's so key with like aligning with yourself too, because you got to practice your own discernment and see what resonates with you too. So taking that time for yourself and finding, like you said, positive ways to distract yourself. So like reading a book or going to garden, going on a hike, being out in nature. I feel like that's so key. And that's a very important factor, is like kind of going back into it and doing what you can, but also taking a step back and having that time for yourself, and your body is letting you know, like, okay, we need to remove ourselves for a second. I don't know, like, I'm sure that has it happened to you?
Yeah, it's been really important to me right now to, talking about the sacred embodiment stuff is just kind of going within with everything. It's like not being able to even take on any more information, because it, like you were talking about with some of those visuals being, CGI kind of stuff, we don't know what we're looking at anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's there to heighten your, senses, and, get dopamine rushes to everybody, and everybody with the clickbait and everything. I don't know about you guys, but I honestly feel that technology and having these 10, 15-second videos that we can scroll through, it's changing my brain. And I'm not even on it like I know a lot of people are. I worry about Gianna, my daughter, she's a high schooler, because I feel like it affects your attention span. It affects how you want to receive information. Sometimes if you have to read something and it's a little longer, like a book, or you want to watch something and it's like you look at it and it's like a longer video, you're just like,
immediately you can't even focus.
Yeah.
You can't even read it.
I don't want to even take it in. It's like, it's hard, and it's kind of like to take that stuff back. I used to love reading. I used to love going in. It sounds so crazy, but my physics books and my, nonfiction stuff that I felt like I was learning something from, I was all about it. And it's been so long since I've been able to really sit and just enjoy it the way that I used to. You have to do it in these small compartmentalized little, times and spaces. And so I feel like, I don't know, part of it is just going back to allowing yourself to dictate instead of all of the stuff that's in your sphere and that's around you, because you're going to see this stuff on some level, but how much do you want to allow it to affect you?
Yeah. And they are really messing with the neurological development of our children with these videos and these shorts, and the attention span has definitely shortened, especially for children, because now they get hyper stimulated, and if they don't have that stimulation and you turn it off, then they become agitated and aggressive. And there are portals that open up with this technology. So they're sitting there scrolling through their phone and watching these videos, and they will start to get like bug like AI energy and then they'll hear things, and then they'll get ideas in their head. some of them feel really depressed. I have sessions with kids that say that they feel really sad after they've been on their phone on Instagram, and it works on your vulnerabilities, and it's advanced technology. And so not only is it suppressing us, it's shortening our attention span. And think about it this way. The schools want to indoctrinate us by making us sit there for hours at a time so we can be good little girls and boys and be completely like submissive and hypnotized so we can take in subliminal messaging. That was like what they wanted originally. Well, now they're creating an environment for children to not be able to pay attention. So then you give them the iPads and then they go in school and they really can't concentrate now because they're used to these 5-second videos. And so now everyone has ADHD. So now everyone's medicated. So they always create a problem and then, I have the solution. You can give them the iPad, but now we'll just give them medication. And it's like, oh my God, do you guys not see what they're doing to your children and to yourself? And it's really bad. It's so bad, but it's so smart the way that they think, and they create problems. And that's why we have so much hyper instability from these children and adults. They have nobody can sit and focus anymore because of these videos.
So
and they're shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just like no patience. And they just like literally you can go out to a restaurant and everybody has their face in their phone, and it's just, or they're on vacation, have the little pads, they're trying to get the shot and everything. It's like, you're on vacation. Like, don't try to get the shot. Just enjoy it in the present moment, you know? So it's really sad what it's done. Because it's like my generation, we were there before it, when it was coming out, and then afterwards. And I can definitely feel a difference. Like, you feel like you have like a cap on your head and you can't like navigate everything. So I feel like with like Gigi's age and all the younger kids, they're just getting blasted with all of this. And I feel so bad for them.
It's a different world. Yeah. And, I was thinking about your last book that you did too, where that healing the human and animal bond. And you were talking about animals, and they're just like so pure in their embodiment. They live instinctively. They're emotionally and energetically, like there's no separation for them, between their presence of their body and their spirit. And we could really learn a lot from them about how to have that sacred embodiment. When you're talking about the connection with animals, what do you think that they can teach us about sacred embodiment?
I mean, I think the thing about animals is that they only live in the present. So animals are not thinking about the past. They're not thinking about what they could have done better yesterday or how they could have made us happier, or they're not going to lull on whatever fight they got at the dog park. Like, animals don't think. They're not going to think, that they don't dwell on the past. They also don't really anticipate the future like we do because they live in the present. So yes, they can be excited about their walk that they know is coming. They can sense things that are coming, in the immediate future. But they are very present. And so they teach us to be still, and they teach us to just enjoy the moment, which also is so irritating. And when I go and I take my dogs on their nightly walk, and people are walking their dogs at the end of their day, because you could tell they still have their work clothes on in their suits, and they're on their phone walking their dog head down. And I'm like, oh my God, leave the phone and enjoy this.
Can I just tell you, that happened. So I have, my back's been out for like 4 days. That I'm sitting in this chair is like a big deal, but it started feeling a little bit better this morning. But long story short, John has been walking both of the dogs by himself. And it was taking a while, and I was feeling bad because the girls were not around to help him. And anyway, so he's walking the dogs, and I walk out to the end of the sidewalk to go see where he's at. He's got Dobby in one hand. He's got the German Shepherd around his waist, because we've got one of these ones you can clip on. He's looking at his phone and walking. And the German Shepherd is not a dog that you should be, not paying attention to when you're. And I look at him, I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, well, I was going to take a picture of because the sun and the clouds. He's like, it looks really pretty, but then something popped up, and he's literally walking the dogs, looking at his phone. And I just thought, that is a recipe for disaster. He's going to like fall on his face.
He's always on his phone. It's like he's he's worse at it than everybody else. It's like, put the phone down.
I know. And that's what the animals are trying to teach us is, I'll answer that. Is be in the moment and like enjoy your day. That's, I think you, Lisa, and I were talking. I even brought this up in my presentation at Journey to Truth. Sometimes your animals will just come up to you and they just stare at you intently. Yeah. you're like, what does that mean? Or however we got in that conversation. I'm like, sometimes they're just like, hello, like connect with me. Like I see you, you see me. Let's connect. I appreciate you. I'm so happy to be here. And they just want you to like relax, and they're healing you in that moment. They're connecting with you, just not in the way that we connect with each other. And it's not about what they need. Usually if they need something, they have other signs like, I got to go pee. I'm going to run to the door. If I want food, I'm at the food bowl barking or whatever. Like that's their way of like reminding you to just center and balance and take a moment to just be at peace. And I love that my animals will do that for me too. One time I was on my phone answering emails and stuff like that. I was on the couch, and I was supposed to be spending time with the kids, and I was being naughty, and I was answering all these emails, and I wasn't paying attention. And my Doberman came up on the couch. He literally sat on, like 100 pounds, sat on me and went with his nose and flicked my phone almost across the room. Like I was holding it, I was like, da, 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 and his little nose went boop, and my phone went flying. And I literally was like,
Okay.
and I was like, okay, I got it. And then I just told him, and I said, thank you for, I call him Dobie. I was like, thanks, Dobie, and reminding me. And then I was like, these emails can wait. I don't need to respond right now. But anyways, our animals have their ways of like keeping us grounded and staying in the present moment. Someone was asking about that Alexa video. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, it is one of my biggest pet peeves when I see parents filming their children when they're distraught and laughing about it. There's another really cute video of a little boy who had an accident and in the hospital, and he's talking about how he sees Jesus and his dad. And I was literally like crying watching this because it was so emotionally beautiful. And the mom is in the background laughing at it the whole time. Like, I mean, she wasn't laughing at him, but laughing at the situation. And I was thinking, like, woman, put your phone down and enjoy this moment. Like, your son is seeing something magnificent, and you're making fun of him. It was horrific. So, anyways, I don't understand why people think that it's funny to make fun of their children in a distraught situation and film it. Obviously, they do it for fame. But the Alexa situation, first of all, I think that some of those are made up. I don't think they're real. I think some parents tried to get, they saw other people doing it, and then they recreated the video in their own way. So not all of those are real, I can guarantee you. However, our children, the more high frequency they are, the more tuned in they are, they pick up on technology. And I know that because I've seen it in sessions. I've literally had sessions where I'm talking to a boy and he says, I can see the TV portals. What are those? This is when I was learning about TV portals. He said, I hear buzzing around the phones. I hear, like, they're telling me this. And so they can pick up on vibrations and tones. So when you say, Alexa, I'm like trying not to say it loud as if there's a child nearby. If you say that word, what happens is that frequency gets turned on. And then it's all of a sudden it's like alert. And now it's active. And so if you were to look at that energetically, you would probably see a spike in energy coming out. And I think that follows by a buzzing sound. This is my theory for a lot of reasons, but it's too hard to explain, and it would take too long to explain. There is a buzzing associated with that. Like a buzz in your ear that's not a pleasant buzz, like a screeching buzzing sound is the best way I could describe it. I think, in fact, I know there are children that can hear that. And so when you activate Siri on your phone or whatever it is, there is that gets that, because I have all of that turned off, so I don't even have that stuff. There's a buzzing and an activation that occurs, and it's scary to them because it's almost like they know you just opened up a portal, but they don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't know why. They don't understand what they're seeing. And some children are able to, in fact, a lot of children are able to tune into it. So that's what they're seeing with those videos.
I'm going to keep the mute close because John just pulled up. So I don't know if our German Shepherd's going to bark when he hears them. But anyway, I saw that, and Victor was talking about the videos too, where they're doing weird things with their animals. Like some videos, their animals, they try to do things to get a reaction out of them. I don't like that either. It bothers me when people, and I always think to myself, even the ones where they look like they're saving them, sometimes it feels so disingenuous that I'm thinking, like, are there really people that would put their animals, a kitten or something, in water just so they could go over there and find it and rescue it? It feels disingenuous like that, and to use our discernment. But I think if we don't allow for that in our algorithms, we just don't watch it, maybe they won't get the views that they need to keep doing these things.
Well, and then that's where the copycats come, because then they're like, I want my video to go viral too, and then then other people do it to their animals and their children, and it's horrible. I didn't think it was funny at all. A lot of people sent that video to me, and they're like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "These parents should get in trouble for that. Like, that's ridiculous." But this is the world we live in. You're either connected to the third dimension or you're not, and those that are not don't find it funny. The ones that do, clearly, they find enjoyment in that, and those are the clear signs that you can that exactly go back to our original point. Your perception is everything. And so when your perception is altered by what you're tuning into and the illusions, you are either okay with things or they affect you in different ways than they used to. So we have to be, and my biggest advice for people right now going through and navigating things that we cannot control, a lot of it, we can, like I said, what we can control is our reaction and how we spend our time and what we put our energy into. But being flexible with the idea that our perceptions can change and it is okay. We don't have to be rigid. We are supposed to evolve, and we are ever changing, and our perception shifts and changes as we go through experiences and as we evolve and we adapt and we change and we shift, and all of these things causes our perceptions to change. And that is really important that we understand and recognize within each other, because Emma and I might be best friends, but if I go in one direction and she goes in another, and my perception changes and her perception changes, but they become different, and now there's division, what is typically happening is the two of them fight. And now who's right, who's wrong? And it's never really about that. It's about, well, I think we just grew apart naturally, and that's okay. And that's what we're seeing, is that people get so stuck in their perception, and that is the ultimate truth, that is causing a lot of conflict in the collective, because people are fighting because they can't let go of what their belief system used to be or what their foundation was built upon. They can't fathom the idea that it's changeable or flexible. And so there's a lot of that happening right now, and it's okay to change your idea. There's never an absolute truth. And I think if any of my books had a theme, it would be that things are ever changing and we're evolving, and it's okay. And it's all about adapting and being flexible, and Lisa and I, we were talking recently about our books. The first book I wrote was in 2017. I consider myself, in hindsight, looking back at that time, a much more immature version of who I am today. I knew a lot, but I was learning and growing. And so the book that I provided did help so many people at that time who knew less than I did about certain things. And so I was able to provide a lot of guidance and mentorship to the people who read it. Now, if you look at the books that I've written today, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a clear difference in my way of thinking and my evolution of consciousness and the way I look at things and how I respond and how I teach. I've grown, and that's okay. And so there's nothing wrong with the first book versus the fifth book, for example. It's just, it shows that I've changed and evolved, and my books are a representation of that. So it's not that the first book was wrong. It's just, we are here now. And and I think that's okay, and it should be celebrated. I think that's actually a good thing. And so we have to be flexible.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I wrote my book today, it would be a much different book, I think, than it was at the time. It's where I was, and that's okay.
You just said that too. Like, I don't even you can see a difference in how you look at things and your beliefs with certain things. It's like
you get an expanded view as you start to have more time and stuff to sit with things, and then new things come in to your awareness, and you have new experiences and stuff. And it's where I was. It's kind of like encapsulated in that period of time, and me looking at the things that I was looking at that time. We have a question here that I just wanted to get you to, and then I want to hit on something else.
Okay. It says, I have 3 dogs and one passed away 2 days ago. Since they don't think about the past, are they wondering or thinking about Rocky and where he is, or do they just know? Do they think about him things?
Sorry, I was reading as you were reading.
Sorry.
Okay, great question, Rena. So the thing about it is they are operating on such a different level as us. They are tuned in. So when an animal dies in the home that they're connected to, a lot of times they're still connecting to the soul of the animal, and the animal is still, the soul is nearby. So they still can go through a grieving process, but they don't, but they can still miss them. They can still miss, just like we do, miss cuddling or eating or playing with them. And so they can go through a period of depression, not because they're stuck in the past, but because they genuinely miss the energetic presence of their companion, just like you do. So they do go through a grief process, but the only difference is they know that their counterpart is safe. They can see their counterpart. Sometimes you people will notice that their dog is looking up or going into one's part of the house a lot, because that the soul is there and kind of greeting them, and is present with them. So they know where they are. We're the ones that question where they went and are they okay and are they safe. They already know that. And sometimes they also are taking on our grief. So if we don't know that and we are so riddled with grief, and we're sad, the animals can appear sad because they're holding space for us while we go through our grief process. There's a lot of layers to that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. I think that it's funny because, sometimes just because that's the way that we think, we kind of assign some of these things to the animals. And I was, when I asked you about what is Dobby trying to tell me when he's always looking at me and he's, trying to, is he, because I try to, connect with him and I feel like I'm connecting with him, but I don't get anything. It's not like, one time I literally had Emma's cat connect with me, and
he wasn't happy with me though.
It was so funny because I was sleeping and he was actually sleeping. And I was waking up from my sleep and I was getting this whole thing about his kitty litter box, and he didn't like how she had changed some stuff. And I got this whole thing, and I was like, I woke up and I was like looking at him, and he was stretching and kind of waking up, and I was just like, I think I just talked to Finn. And I'm like, okay, so listen, it was so like it wasn't cute or flowery or anything like that. He was like,
fix this.
Yeah, he was like, I don't like it. You got to change it back. This is not working for me. And it was so funny, but that was like the one and only time. But I thought because I had that with him, I could do it with Dobby. And no, it was not happening.
But you can kind of gauge how he's feeling, because he does this thing where he'll kind of like side eye you like this.
Dobby?
Yeah. He looks like he's so irritated.
He reminds me of a cholo. Do you guys know cholos when they do that, like, lean back and like do their, that's what Dobby does. It's so funny.
Yeah, they have their personalities. They have their ways of communicating with us. Some, just like us, they're different. Everyone is different. Yeah. So cats purring. I feel so honored when my cat comes and like needs my little chunky belly, and he's just like kneading and he's purring. And I just lay there. I'm like, oh, I'm receiving a healing. And I love, it's like my favorite thing. I'm like, yes, keep it going. Keep it going.
Emma thinks it's weird when her cat
My cat's weird though. He does this weird thing. And he just started doing it like 2 years ago, where he doesn't just do like the normal like needy thing. He'll like come up and like sit on me and like turn, and his leg will start to shake.
His back legs is like shaking while he's doing it.
And I'm like, what are you doing? This is so uncomfortable for me. But I'm like, all right, maybe he's trying to connect with me in his own quirky way.
Maybe he's doing some other form of healing that you just.
He's like, you really need extra
technique. I had a session a couple days ago with a woman who did an animal communication session with me, and her dog like literally licks her like all day long. Okay, constantly. She's like, it's so annoying. He just licking, won't stop licking my legs, my face. And he literally told me in the session, that's how I'm healing her. And that's how, like, every time I lick her, I am taking something from her and I'm healing her. And, and she was kind of like, oh my gosh, like I feel bad complaining about it, but that is how he was doing it. And another dog might do it in a different way. So they all have their methods. And so your cat has his method.
He's a very, very interesting character. I love him to death though, but
yeah. Someone said something about whale sounds. Most people, not all, we talked about this last time. So wind chimes and certain what I would call light language is our original language, is our original healing. I actually had a session with somebody today, I think it was today, who was from Atlantis, and she would sing different. She was from Sirius, and the way she would, their people would heal each other was she would sing and create melodies. And these melodies were encoded with frequencies, and whatever the person needed to heal, they would come to her, and it was kind of like a form of light language. And so I know that our bodies, because they're energy, receive light language in different ways, and whale sounds, and dolphin sounds, and wind chimes, and light language, nature, which is the best nature light language. I'm talking about like the ocean waves, or ocean on seashells, or you hear like the trees coming together, or like a river over the rocks. Like those are all natural nature sounds. Those are all healing. They have healing vibrations and frequencies. So some people, if they listen to whale sounds, they feel instantly calm and at peace, because that melody is in resonance with you. Now, if you don't like it, that just means that that's not the right sound for you. Perhaps there's another sound that is better. But I love whale sounds. I find them absolutely magical.
Yeah, I heard about they have like that dolphin therapy too, or like, well, supposedly, I guess they banned it in some places. But they have where like women are pregnant and then they get the frequency healing with the dolphins going around her, and it's supposed to help with like the birthing process and everything. And I just got like, I saw a video of one and I just got like shivers. It was beautiful. It almost made me emotional. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, just imagine like the types of healing processes that we can have, and just through nature. Yeah. It's like, it's all right there.
You think about when you go up, like when we go to the mountains, and, just being with the rustling trees, and, having the birds singing and things like that. I mean, you feel like you're almost at a sound bath kind of experience. Yeah. Everything kind of reverberates within you. So, it's all of those things. I mean, nature's incredible in that way. And talk about sacred embodiment, to find that thing, whether it's whale noises for you or whatever that it is, that can help you kind of ground yourself back into yourself and feel like you're connecting, you're calm. That's definitely a gift.
You're starting to see it happen as a collective, though. It seems like more and more people I see, even like friends and all of that, they're starting to feel drawn to going on hikes or going to like national parks, or, just kind of getting out there by the ocean and all of that. Kind of stepping away from the hustle and bustle of like the cities and the 3D everything. So I think everybody's feeling drawn to go back to that, since we were kind of
that just showed you the timeline shift and jump that we have, because the way they control the 3D are all the things we've just mentioned, and 3D interference, but they have to jam pack us into cities. That's why cities are so popular, and they get us intrigued with the city lights and the shows and the glamour and the restaurants and whatever they can do to draw us in. I have celebrities go, so then we want to be like them, and the cars and blah, blah, blah. But the more they jam pack us into the concrete jungles, then the more absent nature is. And when they keep us in these cities condensed, like like Lisa said, in her house, sardines, in this little sardine can, it's easier to infiltrate and bombard with the frequencies and the technology, because we're all together. But when we spread out and we go into nature, which more people are doing, being called, I want to go out to nature, then you tune out and you're able to tune into your own frequency finally. And that's why the weather warfare is so off the chart right now, because they don't want people to go outside. They're trying to block that by creating all this horrible rain and weather events and this and that. And it just goes to show you how much they don't want us to be within nature, because that's natural healing is in nature and those sounds.
Yeah. Right. And that just made me think of something too. You actually just showed it to me earlier. Talk about like natures and animals. Was it Yellowstone? Where there was mountain lions, and even the grizzlies started leaving the area. People were actually it was like a whole bunch of them that they started leaving more recently. So my mom was like, what are they sensing? Like, what are they kind of tuning into that's causing them to leave?
They were saying that they were going into Utah. They were like leaving Yellowstone Park and going into Utah, and people supposedly catching it. With things that with CGI now, like you never know anything. But that's what I was seeing. So I don't know. Did you see anything about that?
I haven't seen it. I really try not to tune into any of the stories, and plus there's so much CGI that I don't know if I don't. So I don't know that. But what I do know through animal migration patterns is that they are healing ley lines, and a lot of them are being called to go certain places because they are doing grid work and healing. So it's not always a bad thing, like, oh, they're sensing some destruction. They're migrating to where they're in resonance with, because of some reason, with the earth's healing and the frequency changes. And maybe that area is no longer in tune with the frequency that's in resonance with them. So it's not always a bad thing. There could be good reasons too, but I just don't know the details. This guy asked me, in an interview years ago, these elephants migrated thousands of miles, like off chart, and then they made like a big circle and came back, and it was all over the news. It was a big deal. And in the live interview, I just tapped in because I didn't know, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're showing me that they were doing a massive healing and grid work, and they created this big circle, and it was more to it, but they were doing some sort of like portal work. And I was like, oh, that it does. They just know innately what is needed and necessary. So the animals, the wild animals, I'm talking about, part of nature that are not domesticated or captive, their sensory and attunement to the planet is next level. They are in complete harmony and synchronicity with the planet and the movement and the vibrations and the shifts and everything.
Yeah. Somebody asked too if the like sound healing stuff affects animals in positive ways too.
So again, it's never a one size fits all approach. I think less is more with animals. I think sometimes their sensories are tuned or more sensitive because they're more tuned in. So you have to adjust the frequencies on the animal. You have to be really careful. A lot of animals do not like sound bowls, especially crystal. They're too high in frequency. My animals will literally run out of the room and go as far away from my sound bowls. I don't even use them anymore. But they seem to be okay with the Tibetan bowls that are, the metal, bronze, or the different materials that they're made out of. Tuning forks, and you have to just be careful, and less is more with them, because they don't need it in the way that we need it. I think they do better with nature sounds. Like I would turn on the whale sounds, or a background noise of like nature sounds or something like that. A lot of times they do better with that. So, and same with us. Someone put in there that they do 369 frequency instead of some of the others. Yeah. Again, it's not a one size fits all approach. I think that people need to find the frequency that their body is in resonance with at that time. And again, it's about being flexible. 369 might be beautiful for you for 1 month, and then all of a sudden one day you're like, and then you got to adjust. It could be a daily thing. It could be different. Same with food. It's intuitive eating. We might do really well, and all of a sudden I can't eat apples. I get bloated. I feel disgusting. So we have to be flexible and tap into our intuition. And no doctor can tell you what to do, because only you know yourself and you know your body. So the more in tune we are with our body, and the less we're paying attention to all the distraction, the more we start to recognize what foods work for us, what sounds work for us, what vibrations work for us, and all of that. And it's an individual recipe that literally is not the same for everybody. Even the two of you as mother and daughter could have completely different needs, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, definitely. I feel like it's just kind of listening to your body's unique language and tuning in.
And I found that for myself personally, is that the frequency stuff, I'll go through and switch it up a lot. And I'm just assuming that whatever was needing that attunement at the time is now attuned. And I'm working on something else, because something else, I'll be drawn to for a while. Mm-hmm. So, it's just to be open and aware. And I think it's part of using our discernment with everything, right? It's funny because it's all of the things that we were talking about today, but even with, relationships and people and finding that, you maybe had, they talk about even friendships. You have people in your life for, a reason or a season. There's that saying that things come in and then they move out, because maybe you fall out of resonance with them, or maybe, just energetically, it's not it's not working the same way that it used to anymore. And instead of looking at those things like a loss, or that they're not necessarily, a good thing, you have to just look at it from the place that everything's in flow all the time. And sometimes, you're just moving in different directions. And it's just to kind of know that for for everything, even where you get your information, all of it.
Absolutely. I agree. It's all about being flexible. Perception is key. Expand your perception and things will be clearer. I say that like a broken record. People are probably tired of me saying that. If you look at it from a bird's eye view, I promise you you'll see things from a more neutral space and you'll have more clarity, and your decisions will be easier to make because you're not looking at it so close. Like, so remember those, what were those paintings? Monet paintings where like up close it looks like a big mess, but then you walk far away from it
And you can make it out. Yeah.
creates something. Am I saying that right, or was it the other way around? I can't remember now, but it's like that. Like the farther you are away, the perception changes, and you're looking at it from this macro or this bird's eye view, and things look different from up there. I'm telling you, and you can do that with every decision in your life, for everything that's going on. Just be like, all right, hold on a second, I need a minute, because I do this all the time, even with some things happening with my son very recently, some like 3D, life stuff. And we could have all freaked out, but we just are like, you know what? Hold on a second. Let me see what the lesson is here. Let me see what our options are. And you just take a moment, take the emotion out, and look at expanded view. And I came up with some pretty brilliant things. I was like, hold on a second. I was like, actually, I think this is good because of this and this and that. And it changed the whole perception on it. It still sucks, and we're still dealing with some things. But I was like, I think we're learning some things here, and this might actually be good later on so I'm not saying everything always is so pretty and beautiful. Sometimes we go through really hard times. Sometimes things feel like you're in an endless battle and you're all alone and you're drowning. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way right now. They're feeling hopelessness. They're feeling like they're out of control. And I think that it's helpful to know right now that you're not alone, and so many people are going through the same thing, and we have to discern, is this my fear or is this collective fear? And that helps a lot, so that you can release because even though we're starseeds and we're empaths and we're here to shift the frequency and be guides and help and learn ourselves, because we're not perfect, so we're also learning. If we don't have to take on the burden or carry the burden of everyone else's problems. So if we can't hold the space in a way where we don't take on the burden, then we have to say, I release any and all energy that is not serving me anymore. I have to let it, I let it go. I'm letting this go so that it's off of my plate. And I pray for you, and I wish you the best. And I know that everything's going to work out in your best and highest interest, but I can't take on that burden for you. And we start to compartmentalize our life a little bit and prioritize, and things start to shift around and make sense. And we don't have to carry the weight of the collective healing right now and the collective suffering. And it is okay to go within and take care of yourself right now, because the more we invest in ourselves, the more better we'll be able to help each other. And I feel like that's kind of the moral right now.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I'm looking at Jane's message. She was saying, does anybody feel like there was a shift last night? There was a major storm in Alberta, Canada. People around me felt it for some reason. I felt like it wasn't a normal storm. I think that's happening. And that could be the kind of thing, like right now, if somebody wasn't feeling it, that doesn't make it any less true for you and where you are in your place in reality. Because even though we're all in this conscious collective place in reality, we all each are also doing our own kind of, timelines or whatever. So my shift could have been more last week, and yours could have been last night, and Sherri's could have been 2 weeks ago. And we're still moving kind of in the same direction, but we're not all doing it together at the exact same time and exact same pace. So I feel like, and then there are going to be some people who don't resonate with it at all. And that's because we're kind of watching that bifurcation a little bit, where we're kind of moving into different paths, I think. But, that's part of it. But it's funny because it's like always coming back to not looking outside of yourself for the information, or that if everything's going to be okay. It's kind of like focusing on what's, within you, what's in front of you, and keeping yourself going. Because do you know anybody right now, Sherri, or in the chat, do you guys know anybody who doesn't feel like this 2025 has been really transitional? it seems like everybody we know is
Yep.
really moving into brand new, different everything.
Yes. It's, yeah, 100% across the board. I actually can't tell you one person that is not experiencing it to some level. So, and you're right. I mean, we're all experiencing it from our own perception, which means we all really are living in our own worlds, but then we're also living in each other's worlds, and so there's overlap. And then we have to be respectful and compassionate that Lisa's experience is different than my experience, and I might be having an epiphany and a grand awakening, and she might be having a really dark night of the soul and being really down. And both are important things that are wonderful, that are happening for the growth, but might be in completely different frequencies and energies. And we just have to hold space for each other and just say, like, I'm here, but I'm also working on myself. And it's okay to feel a little bit selfish. It's okay. I feel like it's okay to be right now, whatever that looks like for everybody.
I think it all comes back down to, it's so funny you were saying that, my right ear started ringing when you said that. I was like, oh, but I think it's so true. It's all the intention behind it. And just, we've got to remember just to be patient and gentle with ourselves and other people, where how you feel today is may not how you feel tomorrow, and all of that. So everybody's just doing the best they can and navigating this the best way they can. And as cliche as it sounds, everything happens the way it's meant to. And I think it's gonna come around. It's kind of crazy right now, but I feel like this is just kind of like this last bit of stuff that's getting like flushed out before we
And we have a learning curve, right?
You're still learning every single day.
We have a learning curve because things are reacting different and things are moving and changing, and it's coming from a new energetic space. And so we're figuring out how to navigate the newness of what it's going to look like and how we're going to act and react to those things. And I know I have had a major thing. I don't know if it's the Capricorn in me and being like somebody who likes to kind of like have my ducks in a row and kind of control the situation. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm not, able to do that on the same level. The things that I would do before aren't working in the same way anymore. So I'm kind of like, okay, now what? I don't know. It's not working, so it's just to kind of give yourself some grace and stay, heart centered, I think. And just to recognize that, the important thing is that you're always coming from a place of not reaction, but maybe just being heart centered and kind of observing. And like Sherri said, something came up that could completely have derailed you guys and made everybody feel stressed. But instead, you looked at it, you moved through it, and you actually came up with some pretty good, solutions. So it's kind of like the new way we all need to see things.
Yeah, the old foundations and structures are starting to fall away. So we're just kind of trying to navigate that. But it's okay. Just have faith and just know, like, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through it in our own way. Everything's fine.
It is fine. We will make it through. And not, like Emma just said, not to sound cliche or like a bumper sticker or a broken record. I will say the same thing that I've been saying for years, and I'm sticking to it. And is the last thing that I'll say tonight. I believe with my heart that we are still on the right track. We are still at the point of no return, and we are anchoring into a high frequency, and nothing is stopping it, no matter what they do to try, because the children keep coming in, and they are being born, and they are continuing to come in. And I can guarantee you from what they're telling me in these sessions, they would not continue to come through and volunteer to be born if we were not on an ascension path. They would not agree to cuss. A lot of these evolved souls coming through that are continuing to be born would not come here if we were not still on the trajectory of ascension. So for me, that is all I need to hear. And I hear that all the time. So like, it uplifts me and makes me feel positive no matter what is around me. So I like to tell people that, so they also hear that is my validation. Not because I heard some psychic say it on a channel, not because I sit and I try to channel a galactic council of guides, or I put my eggs in the children's basket of their soul collective coming through, and they're telling me we would not come through if it wasn't the right time. And so to me, that is what gets me through the hardest times. And when I feel out of control and I feel like 2025 is not going exactly how I really thought it was going to for myself and a lot of others, I just know that they're just trying to slow us down or to tire us out. But then the children will come through in these sessions with these beautiful messages. And they say, nothing is stopping us. Nothing has changed. It's just the timing is different, but everything is okay. And they wouldn't continue to be coming through and more pregnancies, more and more, if the window and the portal of ascension wasn't occurring. So that is how I anchor in my I think that's how I discern where we are in our path.
Do you want to answer that question real quick before I add to what you were?
Talking to the souls of the children, whether they're alive or not yet.
And I just wanted to say, just like you were saying, for you to keep going and feeling positive with it, my guidance has told me something similar. And they were coming from a different perspective, but they were showing me kind of like our universe and our galaxy specifically. And they were talking about where we're positioned in space-time. And so they were showing me that basically because of where we are, there's no stopping kind of what's happening. I was looking at that like grand central sun in the middle, and I was looking at like the arm of us kind of coming out in our galaxy, and they were showing me that it spins like this, right? The galaxy spinning like this, but it's also why it's doing that. It's simultaneously doing these waves. And basically where we are on that arm right now, we're going on an upward trajectory of where we are. And so all that photonic energy that's coming off of that grand central sun area, it's reaching us more than when we were dipped down. And that's kind of when we go into like those darker ages where we have like more violence and things like that are happening. But because of where we're sitting in reality, we're getting that photonic energy, and that energy that comes in, it's enlightenment, right? It's sun codes. It's all of those things. And our sun is getting it too, which is why it's reacting the way that it's reacting, because of where we're literally sitting. Not to mention the fact that we don't just stand still in space, we're moving. And we know that we've been moving into this photonic belt as well. So we've got the position that we're going into with that arm, plus we have the fact that we're sliding into that photonic belt, and we're receiving all of these new energies that are coming in, and that equals to enlightenment. So they can talk about blocking out the sun, and they can talk about doing all of these kind of things, but it's not just Earth that's dealing with it. It's everything. It's everywhere, and there's no stopping it. It's like God consciousness is already moving us in the direction where we are going. And so when you look at it from that perspective and you realize that all of these things that we're learning to do and how the energies and stuff are changing, but really it's like, how much do we really have to worry about it? Do you know what I mean? It's just to kind of ride the wave and figure out what new looks like.
I love that. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, it was really good to be with everybody. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I was just going to say, I'm so glad you joined us, Emma. You have a nice energy addition to the group. I think you should join us a couple more times if you want.
Yeah, I'm trying to like figure out my schedule, but I really miss being on the podcast, and I love like hanging out with you and Soul and my mom too. She doesn't get a break with me. She's like
always with this kid, okay?
All the time. We're like, I need a break. So after this, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
But no, this was really fun, and I'm still kind of navigating through everything, and I'm learning. So I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom as well, because I'm still trying to like navigate everything as well, because the more I listen and the more I like tune into stuff, I'm like, I don't know anything at all.
None of us do. I mean, we're figuring it out.
You know what? My favorite meme is like that pie graph where it's like what you know, and it's like a sliver, and then what you don't know is like a sliver, and then the rest of it is like what you don't know that you don't know. It's like we none of us know, at least not in our human capacity. Our soul knows so much more, but we're trying to funnel it into this like human brain, and we're all trying to figure it out together. I really do. I feel like that. So none of us know what we're talking about half the time. It's just our perception at that time, how we interpret it and how we present it to others. And that's it. And that's why you got to be humble and not take yourself so serious.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because sometimes I like sit here and I'm like, I don't even know what I can say because I don't know what to say or how I feel. But no, you're totally right. It's also kind of showing people, like, no matter where you are in your journey, like, we all have like a piece that we can share with it, and we're just gonna figure it out as we go. So
thank you, everyone.
That's what community is about. We share it. We
Yeah.
share the knowledge.
definitely.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. This was a great conversation, and we missed Soul, but hopefully she'll be with us the next time. I'm going to wait to try to schedule this until we know she's all clear and better.
Sending her love and light.
Sending love. So thank you all for joining us. It was really fun chat. Hopefully it was uplifting. That was the intention. It was really nice to have everybody engaged in the chat, and whoever catches the video later, thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you guys the next time. So do you have anything that you want to tell anybody before we go?
Nope. I will not be. Well, there's a lot of confusion. I am not at the Disclosure Now conference that started today. I was on the flyer and in the video recently. I don't know why I was not able to attend. I haven't been able to attend as of 6 months ago. And I've had countless emails and texts. Are you coming? Oh my gosh, you're coming now. I am not. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. So yes, that's the important thing to announce if you're watching this. I'm not there this week. I am home with my family doing other things, and I have a lot of other things going on.
Okay, so we will see you guys all next time. Thank you, Sherri. We love spending time with you. And that's it. We'll see you guys.
Yep. All right.
Thank
bye,
you,
guys.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.